Bucks. Look forward to that one as well. That just in off the wire. Here's something you probably never thought you'd hear me say ever in history. I need Ariana Grande tickets.
Wait, we've addressed this before.
You need to isolate that, Ed, for a promo or something?
Oh, I already have a version of you saying that.
Oh, my God. My kids, man. I mean, what can I do? She's playing the Garden, and it's like they don't really ask me to go to many concerts at all, and I don't know.
You going to take one for the team?
I'm not going to go. I don't think I might do the move if because especially if I got to buy the tickets, which I don't want to. I'm not going to drop that money for me to sit there. My daughter's old enough now at 15 that I probably do the old dad wait outside bit. She's got a phone and everything, so I might do a move like that. I don't know. I'm not going to go spend like $300-400 to sit there just so I could sit next to her and be miserable for an hour and a half.
You parked in the parent pickup area?
My dad, I remember my dad.
After car.
One of my favorite stories about before I was able to go to concerts on my own that I remember was my dad took me to see Judas Priest with special guest, this new band, Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden opened, Judas Priest headlined, Point of Entry tour, Convention Hall, Asbury Park, New Jersey. So this is, 81? I would have gotten my driver's license. I guess I would have gotten my driver's license right around that time, but my dad took me. He didn't come in. He waited outside on the boardwalk because it was at the Jersey Shore. I don't even remember who I actually went into the show with. But the funny part about that is Halford comes out on the motorcycle, of course, at the end during Hellbent for Leather. And I walked out as my dad's waiting there for me outside on the boardwalk, and I see him, and he comes running over to me and goes, "What the hell was going on in there? I didn't know. I thought I was taking you to a concert, not a motorcycle rally. What the hell is going on in there?" Because all he could hear was the bike revving out the door out onto the boardwalk. I mean, he didn't think somebody was going to ride a Harley out on the stage, as Halford did and still does. But that's my my resounding memory of my dad taking me to a concert, is him being perplexed as to what I actually saw, considering he heard a motorcycle on stage versus a rock band. Anyway, yeah, we'll see. I gotta figure this out with this Ariana Grande thing.
You want me to talk to Kid Kelly down the hall over at Hits 1?
Oh, I'd love you to talk to anybody. Yeah, I don't have any juice in that area at all. I need to come up with something here. Yeah, I don't know him at all, but sure. I mean, I'll take all I can get. I'll be walking the halls on Monday talking to anybody I can talk to. All right, let's get back to the Free for All Friday. This is Matt, who's in North Carolina. Welcome, Matt.
Hey, Eddie. And for the record, when you had your Queen Top 20 in the wake of that, I am the one who called in with my Queen's Reich Top 20, and I read it off before you had a chance to stop me.
Oh, okay. During the break, Ed and I were trying to figure out where the Queensryche Top 20 came in and if we allowed that. So you're the guy. Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, I did that more as kind of a take on Queen, trying to fit in with that. But
yeah, well, I remember. Well, Matt, I remember though, real quick, when we were doing that metal show. And we used to do the throwdowns, this versus that, and we did one, and we caught a lot of flack for this because we were really stretching, trying to figure out what we were going to do. So one of our throwdowns was Queen versus Queensryche, just because of the name.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we couldn't. I mean, we couldn't find anybody between the three of us and whoever the guests were that day. We're like, come on, you guys got to be kidding me. I mean, who's going to sit there and argue Queensryche over Queen? All respect to Queensryche, but even they would be picking Queen. So I remember they were like, God, guys, it's the dumbest one you ever did, and people were right. It probably was.
If I were on the debate team, then I would have taken Queensryche just for the principle of, being contradictory, and I would have made an argument for it.
Well, we used to have to do that. When we did throwdowns on that show where we all knew most people were where they were gonna fall because it was kind of obvious, you could feel it. We would sit there and discuss, like, okay, who's going to take the bullet here? Because somebody has got to be able to make the argument, otherwise you don't have a debate. And over the course of that show, somebody always all of us took turns taking a bullet here and there where we had to make an argument for something we really didn't believe in our core, but we had to do it for the show. So I remember that happening too.
Very brave shows you put on then. So.
Oh, yeah.
The reason I'm calling, and this is something I've been thinking about a little bit, I've watched, I've been a giant Judas Priest fan going back to, Unleashed in the East is when I first got onto them. And I've noticed Halford on this tour in particular being so glued to his teleprompter during concerts that it seems almost antithetical to performance. His head is bowed down. He's glued dead center of the stage. And it bothers me. And I don't know if I were in the audience for that tour, if I would feel, and I equate it to some degree. It's not quite the same as running tracks. And I know that's a big criticism of yours, and rightfully so. But I see this as somewhat similar in a way. I mean, I expect a guy who's been with his band for so long, he should know his lyrics. The band has to rehearse, and they know their music. They're not reading off of charts. And I'm wondering your take on this. How do you feel about vocalists using teleprompters? And is there a line to be drawn with using them just to kind of, glance at or be glued to for you?
That's really interesting, Matt. And I've never given that a lot of thought. And you're right, it doesn't bother me nearly. It's not even in the same league as somebody lip syncing, which is the complete. I mean, that's just somebody. And thank you, Matt, for the call. That's just somebody that's can't do it anymore and is basically faking it and cheating. It's ridiculous. But artists with prompters, it never bothered me at all. But I understand your point where it could maybe limit somebody's performance in the sense that they've got to be a little more static and be there. A number of years ago, Bruce Dickinson took a shot in the press at Rob Halford for using a prompter. And it was a big story at the time. It was probably 8-9 years ago, because he said something like, I can't understand a guy that would need a teleprompter to sing Breaking the Law when he sang it for 40 years. And I remember, like I said, that was a flare-up at the moment about that. I don't understand the need for it when you obviously wrote most of these lyrics yourself and you know them. But I do think that some of in talking to people who do use them, there's a couple things. There's a security blanket to it in case you lose yourself in the performance and where you are in the song. And in the case of Priest, now I know Rob has been doing it for a long time, but recently my understanding is Priest added a bunch of songs to their set that they have not played live in a long time. And for that, maybe he needs it as a safety net. There's a lot of artists that I've seen that have prompters on stage that actually never look at them. They don't really reference them at all, because I've stood on the side of the stage and watched. It's there more as just in case to show them where they are in the song if maybe they get caught up in something with the crowd or just lose themselves in the moment. And then, the verse is coming back in, where am I? They can look down at the screen and see where they're picking it up. I know that sounds crazy. Obviously, the other thing, too, quite frankly, is just some of these guys are getting older and, maybe forgetful or, I mean, even Sebastian Bach yesterday was talking about the fact that he can't see anymore. He said that during the interview, I can't see. So, I mean, I think for some people, it's a safety net. And for some, and you talk about using tracks, some of it ties in with people who use tracks and sing to and lip sync, because they need the font on the screen will show them when the fake track is coming up, so they can make sure that they are on the microphone faking and acting like they're singing. So some of it does tie in with lip syncing. Not all of it. Most of the time it does not. I mean, Steven Tyler uses a teleprompter. He has for years. But if you've seen the guy live, it doesn't hinder his performance. He's still all over the stage. And I've been in the front row watching that guy recently, and he rarely references it. But I think it's there just in case he kind of forgets where he is. So it really doesn't bother me